I feel like good female friendships are very rare these days. When you find a female friendship at a big age, just cherish it because it's very rare. When you get to a certain age, you don't really have time to cultivate friendships like you used to anymore. So forming friendships can be really challenging as an adult. When you're a child, you are going to school and therefore you end up around these people every single day, and therefore it's easier for you to form friendships with them. But when you are older now and you live in your own space, you probably moved out to your hometown and all your friends are probably scattered all over the place because maybe everybody went away for college, or maybe they just moved to another country, maybe they migrated, maybe they moved to another town, another parish, another state, and the friendship just becomes diluted. Like some friendships end up dying out because some people you outgrow, and as a result the friendship just dies because now you have to make all this extra effort. You have to go the extra mile to actually hang out with your friends now. So it's not a case where, oh, you're at this school or at this workplace every single day, so you get to see this person every day and spend time with them every day anyway. Now it's a case where you have to go out of your way to go meet up with them, to call them, and to do all of these things. And that's why most friendships are formed in childhood. And if you leave out your childhood and don't really have many friendships, then chances are you might never really have a lot of friendships. And I find that that's the case for me because year after year, no matter how much people I can call my friend, there's still nobody that I'm extremely close to, that I hang out with often and see often and talk to often, because I am just a loner. And maybe I'm hard to form a friendship with too because I'm busy. I don't reply to text messages sometimes, and I don't pick up calls. I mean, I pick up calls when I see someone calling me. I'll answer my call, but I'm probably not going to be the one that's going to like pick up my phone and say I'm gonna call you unless it's a special day unless it's a very special day and I feel social. But it's highly likely that I'm not going to feel that way 2 days in a row. I don't really tell people my business. I don't tell people too much about me because I have a fear of oversharing. And I don't know if I should really call it a fear because I feel like it's a good protective mechanism. Because if you tell people too much about your life, you're letting in forces that can be really harmful. Sometimes people don't really have good intentions. Sometimes people have judgments that they want to cast on the things that are going on in your life. And so when you tell them your business, you can end up in a situation where they'll tell you, you should do this, you should do that, instead of just listening. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen to you. Sometimes you just need somebody to give you a listening ear, to hear you out. And I feel like that's the reason why a lot of women talk to each other about things that are happening in their life. But I've just found that that's not really something that I want to do. I prefer to either journal about it or talk to my king man or meditate about it. I hardly ever tell people my business, and this is a very new development because I used to be the type of person who would tell people my business and like the things happening in my life, and it just wasn't really conducive for me. It didn't really work for me because I would feel judged. I'd feel like I overshared, and I would feel pressured to do whatever the person says I should do in terms of advice, or like me I go look away if I don't take them advice. And I know that those things sound ridiculous, but coming from the perspective or point of view of somebody who was a people pleaser, that's how it is. It's like you always feel like you have to ask for advice, and then when people give you the advice, you feel like you have to take it, because if you don't take it, they're going to be upset that you don't take that advice. And I learned something so beautiful in my life, that you really don't have to ask anyone for advice, because everything that you need to know is already in your brain. It's already in your soul. You already know the answers to every question that you have in life. Even if you think you're naive, even if you think you don't know, even if you think you're not right, you have to learn to trust yourself. And through trusting yourself, you are then able to take action on your decisions. And when you take action on your decisions, you will feel proud and happy to know that, listen, I made this choice for myself. So whether the consequences are good or bad, you can live with them. And that's what happens when you stick to self-referral. Self-referral is pretty much referring to yourself mainly, and if not only. I have been scarred by female friendships, and that's the reason why I don't really have a lot of female friendships. I have a handful of women in my life that I can call friend, but I don't really overshare. And that's the thing about me. Like, if someone is willing to tell me what's going on in their life, I'm probably more likely to tell them what's going on in my life. But at the same time, I'm still also very conscious of how much I'm sharing, because I used to overshare so much. I used to overshare to the point where it's like afterwards, I just feel so terrible. Like I just dumped on someone. And I feel like you leak energy when you overshare too much. You know, I feel like there's a lot that you have to keep for yourself. I used to talk about almost anything with my girlfriend them when I had close female friendships like that. Those friendships would fall apart, and then I end up feeling vulnerable, because you know this thing about me that nobody else knows, or just only a handful of people know, and we're not even friends. And I realized that with females, with women can be very vindictive at times. So when I tell you something about myself, there is a risk of you telling it to someone else if you and I fall out. I had a friend once who I literally told her everything. She was my best friend. She knew everything about me at that point in my life. And we had a falling out. And she went to our other friends and told them a bunch of things about me. And that was not even in high school. I can't even begin to talk about all the betrayal I've experienced from girls in high school. And so I feel like all of those experiences just came together and made me the type of person I am now, who just love power alone. Like, I'm a lone wolf. I don't really tell people my business. I don't really have a bag of people I'm a par with all the time. Like, I'm a loner. And when we look at my astrology and my numerology and all of those things, my personality, me being an introvert, it makes a lot of sense, because I am just one of those people who trod alone. I don't really have a lot of people around me, and I don't feel a way about it either. You know, like my kingman would say sometimes, like, who do you talk to? You don't have any friends, blah, blah, blah. And that's not true. I do have friends, but it's just that I choose not to talk to a lot of people about my life. I choose to talk to him. And it's important to have balance where that's concerned as well, because of course I have to make sure that I'm not dumping on him or whatever. I make sure it's my journal and me read and me do my thing and me meditate, so I don't have to feel overwhelmed with things that I need to share and end up dumping it all on him. I have been in situations where I will open up to somebody, and then two twos me find out that person they feel like me a trauma dump. So I just learned to keep my problems to myself. Now that might be a trauma response, but I feel like for me, I feel like it's good, because it protects me from, one, oversharing and telling people my business, and two, me dumping on anybody. You see me? And if I fall out with somebody, them not have no secret for me. That's how I view things. And I feel very uncomfortable, as a matter of fact, when people overshare with me, because I say, like, do you really want to tell me this? Like, do you really want me to know this information? Not like saying I go talk people business or whatever, but I feel uncomfortable even when people overshare with me, you know? On top of all of that, I don't really have the time to talk to a lot of people. But for the most part, I'm busy, especially now that I'm a mom. I'm so busy. So to pick up the phone and make a call is not always easy. If I'm gonna build a friendship with somebody, it has to be with somebody who makes as much effort as I make or even more. And we know say that not gonna always happen, you know? I feel like women overall, it's kind of hard for them to form friendships because they are always so on guard. Women in particular, they're always so on guard. So the same way that I have my reservations about the type of friends that I want to have is the same way that another woman has reservations about the type of friendships that she wants to have. And every woman across the board has had bad experiences with other women or girls, and some to a different degree than others, because women can be really catty and women can be very jealous of each other at times, and it's like they feel threatened by each other sometimes, and as a result they don't really end up sticking together. I've seen so many women fall out of friendships with each other, and if you look on some of the man them, they have their friendships from childhood, like from them in a belly, them are friends with some of them, bridging them. And you hardly see that for women. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. It happens, you know, you just don't really see it all that often. It's very rare with women. And if you see two women or several women who have been friends since childhood, just know say are some good friends them there, and them friendship have a high level of compatibility. Men are a lot better at sustaining friendships because men don't take a lot of things personally. Them not overcomplicate things. They're not reading into things too deeply. Them not sit down and chat each other business or whatever. And even if they do, it's not in the way that women do. Or even if you talk bad boy or virgin, you probably talk bad in front of him face. Meanwhile, a woman knows she could just go behind your back and say one bag of things and spread propaganda about you. I remember being in high school and this one girl, I wasn't even friends with this girl. This girl got spread information around the school about me, where it just don't even make no sense. And I literally just started going to that school. It just goes to show that women have a lot of animosity towards other women because they're secretly viewing other women as their competition. And it really shouldn't be that way, because I'm not your competition. You're not my competition. I am my own self and you are your own self. You see what I'm saying? So you don't need to feel threatened by me and I don't need to feel threatened by you. You see, when you overstand in a life, say, everybody have them own unique journey and everybody is special in their own little way. You don't view anybody as competition. When you realize that you have your lane and me have my lane, and when you realize that my journey different from your journey, you don't see me as competition. You don't see me as a threat. And the crazy thing is that growing up, boys were so many times the center of a lot of the reason, or the reason why a lot of girls would fall out with each other. I just hate the fact that women make man drive a wedge between them, because we're literally sisters in the flesh, you know. We should be uniting. We need each other. Sisterhood is such an important thing. Having other girls in your life, having other women in your life is such an important thing. But so many women miss out on it because they don't trust other women, and rightfully so, because other women have disappointed them. There are girls and women who would much rather to be friends with men than to be friends with other girls, because you know, so once you tell a business to a man, him not really go talk it. And then you have some man still, you know, we love talk business, and you have some man who really catty and gossipy and them kind of thing there. But for the most part, you can trust men with the things you tell them about yourself and about your life. And they're not viewing you as competition because they are the opposite sex. They're the opposite sex, and that's the reason why a lot of girls and a lot of women can have such good friendships with people from the opposite sex. I feel like a lot of it stems also from childhood, you know, like the relationship you have with your mom often determines the kind of relationship that you have with women. And that's why I am making it my duty to make my daughter feel as comfortable as possible telling me anything. I want my daughter to know that she never has to hide anything from me. I want her to know that nothing is off limits to discuss with me. I want her to know that she can trust other women. And I want her to know how to deal with other women. You know, it's important to teach children how to handle certain situations in life. When you are a mom and instead of cultivating a good communication with your daughter, you cause her to feel uncomfortable speaking to you, you have to understand that that's going to trickle over into how they deal with friends. But that's the thing. Most parents don't really think about how their actions are going to affect their children. I literally have probably 2 women who I can talk to about anything. I have just about 2 women in my life that I can talk to about anything. It's not a bunch of women, and I always see those big friendship groups with girls and I'm just like, wow, it must be nice, because that's not my reality, and I don't really think I want that to be my reality either. And I have stayed from afar and see so many friendship groups fall apart, or even if one of the whole friendship group fall apart, it's like a few girls out of it not talk to each other anymore. And it's just, you hardly see that with men. You mostly see men just, all of them apart from win. Them apart from what they kill fill up, and them are still bridging, and them still a do this and them still a do that together. And I just feel like that's fascinating, you know. But based on the age where I'm there right now, still, I am gonna be 30 this year. And I don't really know if there is much prospect for me to have a best friend at this point. I've given up on the idea of having a best friend a very long time ago, because every single person that I've ever been best friends with, I ended up falling out with them. And I don't think it's that I am a bad person. I just think that female friendships are very fickle, and so they sometimes don't really stand the test of time. I gave up on having a female best friend years ago. In fact, I gave up on having a best friend, period, years ago. I'm my own best friend, and it doesn't mean that I'm lonely. It doesn't mean that I have difficulty communicating with people, because I'm exceptional at communication. I just know what works for me and I know what doesn't. That's the thing about it. When you get older, you have a knowing of yourself, where you have an overstanding where it's like you know yourself and nobody can tell you about yourself. That's if you're self-assured still, and if you're confident. And on that note, I'm a very confident woman. So a lot of women feel threatened and intimidated by that. There are a lot of women who can't par with an next beautiful woman. There are a lot of women who can't give a next woman a compliment, or them not like the way how other people love a next woman, or how nice another woman look. Women have so much animosity towards other women that it's not even funny. And the crazy thing is that it's always some silent animosity. So for me, I have to par around women who are just as great as me, and them know them greatness, and them confident in themselves, and them don't feel threatened by me. Those are the type of women I have to par with. I can't par with a woman with insecure and feel bad in herself, and that's the next thing too. A lot of women want to stay stuck in sadness. I had a friend once that she was depressed, like being depressed was her whole entire personality. And the 48 laws of power say you have to avoid the unhappy like the plague. And that is so spot on. You know why? Because they're gonna pass on how they feel and their mindset to you, and that don't feel good at all. It's not nice to be around somebody that's miserable. It's not nice to be around somebody that's sad all the time. It's not nice to be around somebody who's always talking down on themselves, because no matter how much you look on them and say, you're so much more beautiful than you give yourself credit for. Oh my gosh, don't say that about yourself. They might tell themselves that them do look good. They're like, oh, you do look good. Oh, I look fat. No, you're not fat. And it's like you constantly have to be coaching this person or telling this person to think and feel better about themselves. You can't really help somebody who don't want to help themselves. You can't. You really can't. I'm an introvert, so I'm often by myself and I love my own company. So if what it takes to build a friendship is calling and texting somebody all the time, then I'm not really a suitable candidate for forming a friendship because I'm horrible at that. I suck at that. Okay? Sometimes even my king man have to say why I'm not answer my phone or why I'm not text him back. How am I supposed to text him back and thing, and it's just like I'm just so immersed in my craft. I'm so immersed in all the things I have to do around the house. I'm pretty sure I have some messages right now that I actually need to answer. You know, I'm pretty sure I have messages that I need to answer right now.